Most of the world is scared about trying to report UFOs at all, but it seems like the Mexican people really don't care. And this Jaime guy here really is one of the major proprietors of it out of Mexico, and God bless him, haha. But he really shows a lot of stuff, and there are a lot of artifacts coming out of Mexico. Of course, everybody's saying that they're all bullshit and that it's all CGI or that they're fakes. But let's take a look at a few of these. Here's one of the recent ones that's really into question here. It's got a lot of detail onto it, and it really just, I mean, it screams UFOs, and so people just scream fake at it all the time. You know, thing is, this was supposedly found back in the 1920s, so we didn't even have a good idea about UFOs at the time, but whatever. This was in Mexico. They had found out in the middle of nowhere, and what this is supposed to be, this is a comet right here. And there's a spaceship which has a step pyramid effect, and there's another one here that has a step pyramid effect, and this one here looks like it's built a little bit different than the others, or perhaps just because you're looking really down onto it. But each one of them has this little round dome, almost looks like a gem set in a little jewel, little gem at the top, little gem at the top, thing at the bottom, thing at the bottom causing thrust, thing at the bottom causing thrust. This one's getting thrusted up quite a bit. There's also one here that seems to be a shadowish type form. Maybe this one's going zoom here, out of the way. This one seems to be going along with this. This is a comet. Now, in the background here is a planet. And they tell you that it's too perfect of a circle and that somebody must have took a protractor and scribed this onto here. Well, somebody figured out that it's actually 4% less wide than it is tall. So it's not. I mean, it's kind of flipped one way down and then flipped the other way down, like it's kind of pinched, kind of. I don't know if you can see it, but it's kind of pinched a little bit. And also, these lines are off. This line would clearly, if you continued it on, would go outside of this line right here, around, and so on. So it's not quite that perfect, you know, but let's not go with perfect. You're still trying to call it fake. This is definitely some type of Aztec Mayan iconography that's here. And if you want to get an idea what the gemstones are here at the top, they have this kind of blow-up explosion idea, like a thought blow-up explosion idea they use in some of their stuff, that at least we have some of it left. And inside of that looks like a spaceman in a spacesuit. I don't know, it looks like he's a guy wearing a plaid shirt and space boots, pants, but he's got a space helmet on. He does, and look how he looks bearded somewhat. Now, interestingly, all these Aztecs and all these other guys do not have beards. It's one of the things about them, isn't it? They don't have any beards. And interesting effect, too. It looks like this craft here would be zipping up here in the way, and it looks like he's pushing or knocking a comet away, or trying to do something, maybe explode this comet from around this planet. And I'm telling you, this might be evidence of that comet, the disaster, the thing that Enlil and Enki and Ninharsag all witnessed and everything. This is that comet of the crossing that they show. They don't have any landmass drawn on that planet effect there, but that is either the sun with its glow around it, or I think that's the planet Earth with its atmospheric ring, and this is all happening very close to the planet, this comet, and it looks like they're doing some type of diverting these spaceship guys. Some of these are a little bit odd, and you can say, yeah, UFO, no UFO, but we're still looking at all these. Now, they say what this is this is praying for rain, and he's standing up under a shield for when it rains. I say this is a sacrifice to a god, and the god looks like that. And to me, that looks like a spaceship. It just screams spaceship. This guy looks like he's wearing an astronaut helmet of some effect. He's kind of crouched, bent in, almost looks like he's in that astronaut position. I don't know, it's just a token found, which they thought was some type of necklace token. But then, I mean, is this just hair curled around in the ear, or is this actually some type of helmeted device? Again, they look very Aryan. I don't see a beard there, but this again, of course, looks like a spaceship here with a little domed roof onto the thing, a little gym top onto it, if you will. The crystal thing they look through, or the windowish type effect, and the thrust that's coming down off of it. And it looks like there's some type of almost figurine in there, but you can't make a figurine out of it. I thought these were legs, but legs and arms and the head, but then the head would have to, no, that's not a figurine, but this looks like a sun, moon, planet, something like that. There's this going zoom up, and there's this going zoom up, and this one has a spaceship on it. Now, the odd thing I found about this is this looks like spaceship, this straight up. They say you got this upside down. If you flip it over and stand it on its end, it's just a bowl where they're pouring stuff in, and it's supposedly the recipe for something. And I'm like, I can see that. I can see that, except for whenever you do flip it over, the word thing would be upside down. The icon in the middle of it would be upside down. This is the way you'd face it and actually be able to read the central part of it. So, yeah, I know. Yeah, that one reeks too. Here's another one that they say is pouring water into a bowl that people have just turned upside down, okay? But if you look at this, that's not water pouring into a bowl. You don't pour in water that comes from a wide space into a small. That's not. Have you ever poured water into a bowl? What the hell are they trying to tell you when they tell you that shit? If you do it this way, it looks like that. Here's a planet, and it looks like it has a little beaten ring around to it, more like maybe Neptune or Uranus has around it. And there's Saturn with a couple of its moons that's etched into this thing. It's real light, but you can probably see that. Hopefully it shows up on there. And then they agree that this one has that age onto it because it was found in a dig that is at too much of a depth. But they still say that this is just a bowl, and you're looking at it upside down. And of course, whenever they said all this, I don't think they wanted to deal with the Saturn effect, did they? Okay, here's another odd artifact from Mexico that has this is supposed to be like a Ichatelil or Quetzalcoatl's ex, the guy after him. And if you look, there's a heart shape behind him. They didn't film the bottom part of it, but it's actually a heart shape. Supposedly this has something to do with the Pleiades and heart shape. And it's got wings, and of course the wings are feathered. And the odd thing though about this one is that you can't say this one's upside down. And the thing at the top there, they try to say that it's a boat next to something, that it's not a 3D thing, that actually this thing here is a boat, and this is other, what are you trying to say? Because that doesn't look like that. They had some analysis of it, and supposedly the stuff down in the dents here goes like 40,000 years, but the stuff that's in here is much younger. And they said, see, that's why it's fake and stuff. And they go, well, check the side of the rock over here, versus they carved it later, right? So this would be old shit and new shit and stuff. So there's your thing off of it. They also had soot on the thing, so they carbon date the thing, and it doesn't come out right. It comes out about between 3,000 and 4,000 years old, and they say that the Mayan and Inca culture aren't that old, but that's where it comes out, like 3,400 years ago, or 16, 1700 BC was the range given right in the middle of it. Okay, this is another Mexican artifact that is supposed to be a necklace worn pendant that's only about 4 inches across. This one is said it's made out of ivory, I think. And the odd thing here is this is your craft right here with the rocket back propulsion onto it shooting out. I don't know if you can see that. Here's a planet up here, and there is Saturn right up here. Bing. And he's fixing to leave and go on a journey where he has to zigzag, zigzag, zig, and then do something and end up at Saturn for some reason. And this is another bona fide artifact that supposedly was found, like 7 feet down in stuff and dirt. Of course, they're all saying, "Oh, somebody must have planted this stuff." They're just planting stuff. They made, yeah. Okay, hopefully you can see this picture pretty good, but this is a Texas hill country close to Mexico. Probably about 180 miles away from the border. Great deer hunting country, by the way. And this is a guy named Villa. He's a Mexican man, and they noticed that down in here, let's see if I can show you down in there, that grayish area there, that their field was on fire. His son told him his field's on fire, so he came and he's going to get in the truck that's right here and go down and check it out. Whenever he looked down there to see what his son was talking about, he saw this silver thing that was out there. And he's like, "What the hell is that?" So he looked at it for a second, saw that it was a UFO looking thing, went and grabbed his camera, came back out. When he's standing right here, he squared himself up good and went to take the picture. When he did, the UFO started flying at him rapidly, and he said he stayed still and took the picture, and then he ran to the left. And or I guess he ran one way or the other, but it flew over the top of him. And after it flew over the top of him, they lost sight of it with instantly, like boom. And it almost seemed like whenever he started to take the picture is whenever the thing just started coming that way. This is from a recent UFO sighting that was in Mexico also. And I don't know if you can actually see the little mountain that's down here at the bottom on each one of these photographs, but this guy took these photographs. He said they were about 3 to 4 seconds apart, as fast as his iPhone would take the pictures and stuff, because he noticed this little dot coming up, and then it did this thing and danced around, and then it started coming at him looking, and he watched it come at him, so he took a picture, and then the thing started coming at him, and it got bigger and bigger, and about 3 seconds later it's this big, and he still says it's probably behind the mountain here. And then the thing within 3 seconds goes all the way from there to where he is here. And as it goes past him, the back side of it isn't lit like the sun. He said right here it's just about the size of the sun, maybe a hair bigger. But as it went past him, the back side of it wasn't lit, but it looked like an eclipse. And then the thing disappeared. And this is one of a series of odd UFO pictures. This is where a pilot in Chile, Air Force pilot in a professional airplane here, is trying to track one down, and it went invisible, and he found it on heat signature in infrared and chased it farther, and then it took a turn that his plane was incapable of, and he lost it. Now, if this is true, exactly what they say, it's quite an odd thing. This is another UFO caught in Chile, and this long cylindrical shape right here is said to be nearly a mile long, over a kilometer easy, and that this is the other plane that's in front of him going, that's his two engines going, and at this point he does not see it. The guy behind him is using infrared, and he sees the thing totally straight up. You can tell this thing looks like it's quite closer than this. This is farther away. He could veer and go right at it, something like that, and been able to go to it. But he doesn't know that it's there right then. And that's odd. They're showing up in infrared instead of visual sight.